Welcome back, guys, to the Whiskey Explorer, and tonight we've got another fun whiskey to explore. I'm doing a solo voyage tonight to find out what flavors we can find in the classic, the quintessential Lagavulin 16. So this guy right here is a heavyweight of the single malt Scotch industry. I don't think there's very many people that this bottle has met that it doesn't like. So this one here is an Islay, so you're going to get heavy peat influences from this one. And what I think makes this one unique from other Islay bottlings is this one is very much a bonfire smoke. This is like the remnants of smelling like a campfire or a bonfire at the beach after it's gone out, maybe like 15-20 minutes after the fire's gone out. That's the type of smoke you get in this one. So if you are into peat and you like the smoke, you will love the Lagavulin 16. Now the only drawback to this one that I see is generally the price. So here in Victoria, BC, this bottle will run you $140 at the BC liquor store. That's before liquor tax and before GST. So I'm guessing that bottle comes out to be around $150 all said and done, which is pushing the limits of what I'm generally willing to spend on a single malt Scotch. This I actually ended up getting my brother to get in Calgary, and he was able to pick it up for me for $95 taxes in. So I thought that was a pretty good bargain, so I went for that. And there's a reason and a little bit of a quick story behind this one. So this is the one where I was at a local cocktail bar here in Victoria, and I was with my wife and a friend, and I had a dram of this one. And this one turned the tide for me for Scotch and whiskey in general and made me a true fan. So right after I had tried this one, I had to go out and try to see and research and find out how and if I could get a bottle. So luckily this one's widely available. And this one here is bottled at 43%. And I believe it is unchill filtered. I'm not sure on that actually. But it is colored as far as I know. So this one, 16 years age statement. So it's nice that it's a little bit above the 40% mark. I would have liked to have seen it preferred at 46%. If you go for either the 8-year-old Lagavulin or the 12-year-old Lagavulin, you'll get a much higher alcohol by volume. I believe the 8-year is about 48%, if I'm not mistaken. And the 12-year-old Lagavulin age statement is at a whopping like 56 or 58%, so probably close to cask strength. I believe it actually is cask strength. So without further ado, let's get into this one. And just taking a look at the bottle there before we move on. Very classy looking, classic Scotch style bottle. It's in kind of a dark green bottle, so you can still see the whiskey of the whiskey level in there, which is great. I always find that with a black bottle, I'm frustrated that I can't tell how much is left, but this one's pretty good for that. So let's get into the whiskey here. Get a cork pot maybe. Oh no, it's a pretty quiet one there. I think that cork is pretty dry. It's been a while since I've cracked this one actually. Oh, so wow, so I'm just smelling the cork here. Off of that, you just get beef brisket, or like Montreal smoked meat, like brisket style beef there, cured. It's like smoked, right? Salty, brine, smoke, lots of smoke. Bonfire smoke. It's a really typical, it's a very Lagavulin flavor of smoke. So, I'm gonna just pour a quick dram of this. So I've got my glass here, my Glencairn. Get a little dram poured here. There we go. And let's take a quick look at the color. I'll hold it up, but the camera's going to go out of focus. I'm using a different camera tonight, so no autofocus on this one. But see the color there that's a pretty deep amber or like a copper color. And again, I know that this one has, unfortunately, has color added. So a little bit, probably a little bit of E150 in there. So let's give this guy a try. So on the nose, I get lots of sweet, like vanilla or butterscotch, bit of caramel coming through at the initial nosing on there. Followed up very quickly by that brine. So saltiness, smoke, smoked meat for sure, like a brisket. That's about all I get on the nose there, guys. So I'm gonna go in for a sip here. Whoa, the smoke is hugely, hugely dominant on the palate. So if you're not a peat fan, I would probably steer away from this one. There are other Islas out there that are a lot more subtle. You could go with like a Bowmore that's going to have a lot more sweeter characteristics, more of a sherry cask influence, less of the smoke. This is very smoky. This would be like drinking a campfire. That's what this would be. Like taking a big gulp of campfire smoke. That's what this is. Bonfire smoke. And like driftwood. So like just get this sense of like the beach is like right there when you smell or taste this one. It takes you back there if you have fond memories of the beach or the ocean. This glass will take you right there. So I'm going to go in for a second sip here, see what else I find here. Often I find that your palate will take a bit to acclimate. So on your second sip, you can sometimes pick out more depth of flavor, like different layers. So I'll try that right now. Definitely more sweetness comes up on that sip. I get like powdered sugar, like white powdered like icing sugar comes to mind. It has a like I feel like this is the first time I've experienced this with the Lagavulin 16, and it has been a really quite a while since I've opened this bottle. But I get like the drying sense that you would have like after you have like a really good like dry red wine, the drying feeling you get from that. I get that with this a lot. Like your mouth is left like almost sucked of moisture. It's pretty interesting actually. The finish on this is very long. So after you get that powdered sugar kind of in the initial palate, moves straight into that bonfire smoke, and that is really the dominant force here. So something like the Lecheg that you guys know that I love, I don't find that the Lagavulin is as well balanced with a sweetness factor. This is more for your peat heads. This is more for your people that just love peat. This has a wonderful richness to it as well. The mouthfeel is actually it's not as oily as I remember it being. There is like a mouth coating sense to it for sure. So there's a nice mouthfeel to it, but not as quite as oily as what I remember it to be. That being said, the finish on this just keeps going. So that bonfire smoke, it doesn't leave you. So it's like the campfire's gone out and you have that jacket on the next day that you had at the fire, and that's what you're kind of getting. And it keeps kind of going back to the nose too. So really, really good dram, especially for those who love the peat. If you love the bonfire smoke and you like the Islay whiskies, you are going to need to get your hands on a bottle of the Lagavulin 16. I recommend it. It's also nice for somebody who likes a little bit less peat like myself, to just like when you're in the mood for it, to delve right into this one. And this is the whiskey that was made pretty famous by the actor Nick Offerman, who's from Parks and Recreation. And he's the guy who sat for 10 hours straight drinking Lagavulin 16 by the fire in one of these style armchairs. So pretty funny stuff. But I'm not going to do that tonight, guys. I'm going to leave you with that. And until next time, Salancha.